Have you ever wondered why you settle for relationships that don't fulfill you? Why you allow others to define your worth? Why, despite seeking love so deeply, you keep encountering the same painful patterns over and over again? Perhaps the answer is closer than you think, right? There in that primary relationship that defines all the others. The relationship with yourself. Today, we're going to dive into the depths of the psyche, alongside one of the greatest thinkers of all time, Carl Jung. Together, we'll discover why your self-esteem is not merely a self-help concept, but the true passport to genuine and transformative love. Jung revolutionized our understanding of the human being when he showed us that within each of us exists an entire universe. A universe that, when ignored, condemns us to repeat destructive patterns. But when we have the courage to explore it, it sets us free to live and love from our most authentic essence. Self-esteem, seen from a Jungian perspective, goes far beyond simply feeling good about yourself. It is the result of deep inner work, reconciling with your shadows, integrating your polarities, and daring to be who you truly are even when the world demands that you be someone else. On this journey we will embark on together, you will discover why your ability to love others is directly connected to your ability to love yourself. You will come to understand that choosing yourself is not selfishness, but the most courageous and necessary act for building relationships that nourish your soul instead of draining it. Get ready to question everything you thought you knew about love and self-esteem. Because after this video, you will no longer be able to settle for less than you deserve. You will no longer be able to ignore that inner voice guiding you to your truth. And above all, you will no longer need to sacrifice who you are in order to be loved. Because you will understand that authentic love begins with your relationship with yourself. Jung said that the encounter with oneself is one of the most unpleasant and yet the most necessary encounters. So take a deep breath, open your mind and your heart, and allow yourself to discover how your self-esteem is, without a doubt, the passport to truly transformative love. Imagine for a moment that you are standing before a mirror, not a physical mirror that reflects your appearance, but a much deeper mirror, one that reveals who you truly are. What do you see? Do you recognize the person staring back at you? Or have you become so lost in others' expectations that you no longer know who you are? Jung devoted much of his life to studying this phenomenon. He discovered that many of us live through a persona, a mask we wear to fit into society, while repressing our true selves. And it is precisely this disconnection that prevents us from experiencing authentic love, both for ourselves and for others. For Jung, self-esteem is not a superficial feeling of self-appreciation. It is the result of a profound process of individuation, the path through which we become whole, integrated and authentic beings. This process requires confronting the parts of ourselves we have denied or repressed. What Jung called the shadow. The shadow contains everything we do not want to see: our fears, insecurities, impulses, and desires that we deem unacceptable. But paradoxically, it is also the source of our vitality and creativity. When we reject our shadow, we do not only reject the negative, we also reject valuable aspects of ourselves that could enrich our lives. Have you ever noticed how sometimes you react disproportionately to certain people? Perhaps someone irritates you deeply for no apparent reason. Or maybe you find yourself inexplicably drawn to someone you know isn't good for you. According to Jung, these reactions are projections of our shadow. We project onto others what we refuse to recognize within ourselves. And here lies the key to why our self-esteem so deeply affects our relationships. As long as we do not recognize and accept all parts of ourselves, we will continue seeking in others what we deny within. We will keep projecting our shadows, creating relationships based not on authentic love, but on an unconscious need to complete ourselves. Jung observed that many romantic relationships begin with an intense projection of the anima or animus. The anima represents the unconscious feminine energy in a man, while the animus represents the unconscious masculine energy in a woman. When we fall in love, we are often projecting these energies onto the other person, idealizing them and seeing in them what we believe we need to feel complete. But this projection, though initially intoxicating, is destined to fade. And when it does, we are faced with the reality of the other person, Dukugai, who can never truly live up to the idealized image we projected onto them. It's at this moment that many relationships fail, unless we have developed the self-esteem necessary to love the real person, not just our projection. Jungian self-esteem involves recognizing and accepting our own duality. We all carry both light and darkness, strength and vulnerability, wisdom and confusion. When we integrate these polarities, we no longer seek in others what we believe we lack within ourselves. We stop demanding perfection, both from ourselves and from our partners, and we begin to experience a love that does not arise from neediness, but from wholeness. Jung warned that what you deny subjugates you. What you accept transforms you. Every time you reject a part of yourself, that part doesn't disappear. It simply sinks into your unconscious, where it exerts even greater influence over your decisions and relationships. But when you have the courage to look your shadows in the eye, to accept your complexity and contradictions, something extraordinary happens. You begin to love yourself completely. And it is this complete love for yourself that becomes the foundation for authentic love for others. You no longer love from a place of need or fear of loneliness. You no longer seek from others the validation you deny yourself. You no longer tolerate behaviors that violate your dignity because you have learned to honor yourself. Think about your past or current relationships. How many times have you ignored your own needs to please your partner? How many times have you tolerated disrespect because, deep down, you didn't believe you deserved better? How many times have you confused love with attachment, possession, or even suffering? Jung taught us that these dynamics are not random. They are a direct reflection of your relationship with yourself, because the way you treat yourself sets the standard for how others will treat you. And the way you speak to yourself internally becomes the dialogue you carry into your relationships. If your inner dialogue is full of self-criticism, doubt, and self-deprecation, you will attract relationships that reinforce those beliefs. But if you develop solid self-esteem based on the acceptance of everything you are, you will naturally surround yourself with people who reflect that same level of respect and love toward you. Jungian self-esteem also involves recognizing and honoring your individuality. Jung emphasized that each person has a unique self, a psychic wholeness that seeks to express and develop itself throughout life. When you abandon your own path to conform to others' expectations, even those you love, you are betraying this self. And such a betrayal always comes at a cost: the loss of vitality, purpose, and authentic connection. This is why so many people feel empty even while in a relationship. They have sacrificed so much of themselves to maintain the bond that they no longer know who they are. They have confused love with fusion, forgetting that true love flourishes in the space between two whole beings, not in the dissolution of one into the other. Jung reminds us that love is the tension between distances. To love authentically, you must maintain your individuality while deeply connecting with another. And this is only possible when you have self-esteem, strong enough to remain true to yourself. Even while loving someone deeply, Jungian self-esteem also means accepting your own vulnerability. In a society that values strength and independence, showing vulnerability can seem like weakness. But Jung understood that true strength lies in the ability to be authentic, to show up as you are, with your fears, insecurities, and wounds. When you hide your vulnerability, you also block your capacity for genuine intimacy. Because intimacy is not born from showcasing only your perfect aspects. It arises from the courage to reveal all of your facets, trusting that you are worthy of love exactly as you are. This trust, this deep conviction of your own worth, is the core of the self-esteem Jung invites us to cultivate, and it is also the bridge to a love that doesn't diminish you but expands you. A love that doesn't chain you but frees you. A love that doesn't demand that you become someone else, but celebrates who you truly are. Perhaps you are wondering, but how can I develop this self-esteem? How can I reconcile with my shadows and love myself completely? Jung offered several tools for this inner journey. One of the most powerful tools is conscious introspection. Dedicate time each day to listen to your thoughts, observe your emotions without judgment, and recognize the patterns that keep repeating in your life. This practice will allow you to identify your shadows and begin the process of integration. Another valuable tool is dream work. Jung considered dreams to be messages from the unconscious, windows into those parts of ourselves that we repress or ignore. Keep a dream journal and ask yourself, what aspects of you are trying to communicate through them? It is also essential to surround yourself with people who reflect and support your true self. Jung emphasized the importance of authentic relationships in the process of individuation. Seek connections that allow you to be yourself, that celebrate your authenticity and inspire you to grow. And perhaps most importantly, practice self-compassion. Jungian self-esteem is not about perfection. It is about acceptance. It is not about eliminating your flaws, but about understanding that they are part of your humanity. When you learn to treat yourself with the same compassion and understanding you would offer a loved one, you are laying the foundations for unshakable self-esteem. Remember, this is a process, not a destination. There will be days when you feel completely connected to yourself, and other days when old insecurities will resurface. Jung taught us that individuation is a lifelong path, not something that is achieved once and for all. What matters is staying committed to your truth, even when it is uncomfortable or challenging. As you develop this deep and authentic self-esteem, you will notice significant changes in your relationships. The people who once attracted you but did not value, you will start to lose their appeal. You will naturally find yourself setting healthy boundaries, and most importantly, you will begin to attract relationships that reflect the love and respect you have learned to give yourself. Jung firmly believed that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. When you develop self-esteem based on deep self-knowledge, you stop being a victim of unconscious patterns in your relationships. You begin to choose consciously, not out of fear or need, but from your authentic center. And it is this conscious choice that allows you to experience a love that is not disguised dependency, but a genuine encounter between two beings who choose each other, not because they need one another to feel complete, but because together they create something greater than themselves. Authentic love, according to Jung, arises when two individuals who have done the work of knowing and loving themselves choose to share their journey. It is not a fusion that erases individuality, but a sacred dance between two whole beings. And your self-esteem is precisely what enables you to participate in this dance without losing your own rhythm. Think of it like a journey. When your self-esteem is fragile, you enter relationships like someone clinging to a life raft in the middle of the ocean, desperately holding on, afraid to let go. But when you have developed solid self-esteem, you enter relationships like someone boarding a ship to explore new horizons, excited for the journey, but secure in the knowledge that whatever happens, you always have the ability to stay afloat on your own. Jung taught us that the deepest and most transformative love is only possible between people who have undertaken the journey toward their own center, who have had the courage to look into the mirror and accept both their light and their darkness. This is the kind of love that does not diminish you, but helps you discover facets of yourself that you might never have explored alone. And here lies the beautiful paradox that Jung reveals to us. The less you need a relationship to feel complete, the fuller and more enriching that relationship will be. When you love from a place of wholeness, not from a place of lack, love becomes not a desperate need, but a conscious and joyful choice. Jungian self-esteem also frees you from the tendency to idealize or demonize your partners. When you have integrated your own polarities, you are able to see others in their wholeness, with their strengths and weaknesses, without the need to project onto them the rejected parts of yourself. This allows for a much deeper and more authentic connection, based on who they truly are, not who you need them to be. Jung observed that many relationships fail not because of a lack of love, but because of a lack of friendship. And genuine friendship is only possible when there is mutual respect, when each person values their own individuality as well as that of the other. This respect is born directly from self-esteem. When you value yourself, you naturally value others for who they are, not for what they can give you. It is fascinating how Jung connected our relationships to deep archetypes that live within our collective unconscious. He spoke of the anima and the animus, the representations of the feminine and the masculine that we all carry within, regardless of our gender. When we do not integrate these aspects within ourselves, we tend to seek them obsessively in our partners, creating impossible expectations. A person with low self-esteem may become trapped in this game of projections, seeking in others what they have not recognized in themselves. But when you develop Jungian self-esteem, you begin to integrate these complementary aspects of your psyche. You no longer need your partner to embody all those qualities you have not acknowledged within. You no longer turn them into a repository for your unconscious projections. It is important to understand that the kind of self-esteem Jung invites us to develop has nothing to do with narcissism or arrogance. In fact, those are masks that conceal fragile self-esteem. True self-esteem is quiet. It does not need to boast or constantly compare itself to others. It manifests as a secure presence, a serene confidence in your own worth, regardless of external achievements or social validation. Jung also warned us about the danger of seeking our worth exclusively in the external world. In today's society, we are constantly exposed to messages linking our value to material success, physical appearance, or social recognition. But Jungian self-esteem grows from the inside out, not the other way around. It is based on your connection to your true self, not on arbitrary external standards. When you seek your worth mainly through the eyes of others, including your partner, you are building your self-esteem on quicksand. Any shift in external opinions can destabilize you completely. But when your sense of worth is rooted in your inner being, in your connection to your own center, you gain a stability that no external circumstance can destroy. This inner stability is precisely what allows you to love without fear. Because fear in love, fear of abandonment, fear of not being enough, fear of losing your identity, is always tied to fragile self-esteem. When you know for certain who you are and fully accept yourself, you can surrender to love without losing your center. You can be vulnerable without feeling threatened. You can give without emptying yourself. You can receive without feeling indebted. Jung reminded us that knowing your own darkness is the best way to deal with the darkness of others. When you have had the courage to face your own shadows, the shadows of others no longer frighten you as much. You can accompany your partner through their difficult moments without feeling overwhelmed or responsible for fixing them. You can witness their pain without losing your own center. And paradoxically, this makes you a much stronger and more present companion. Jungian self-esteem also frees you from codependency, that toxic dynamic, where your sense of identity becomes so fused with someone else, is that you no longer know where you end and they begin. Jung insisted on the importance of maintaining your psychological integrity even within the most intimate relationships, because true love does not blur boundaries. It respects and honors them. When you have developed solid self-esteem, you can love deeply without losing yourself. You can commit without sacrificing your essence. You can be emotionally available without becoming porous or absorbing energies that do not belong to you. This delicate balance between connection and autonomy is the hallmark of the mature love that Jung described. And here we arrive at one of Jung's deepest teachings about love. The idea that the most meaningful relationships are those that help us grow, that challenge us to evolve into our best version. These relationships are not always the most comfortable, or the ones that make us feel good all the time. Sometimes they are precisely the ones that confront us with the unintegrated aspects of ourselves. but to harness the transformative potential of love. You need self-esteem strong enough not to collapse in the face of the challenge. You need the inner security of knowing that no matter what happens, you can sustain yourself. This security allows you to see conflicts not as threats, but as opportunities for growth, both individual and relational. Jung also spoke to us about the inner marriage, the symbolic union between the masculine and feminine aspects of our psyche. He suggested that before seeking meaningful union with another, we must first achieve this inner integration. When you reconcile these polarities within yourself, you no longer seek a partner to compensate for what you lack. Instead, the relationship becomes a space where two integrated beings create something new and beautiful together. It is fascinating how Jung connected our inner work with the quality of our external relationships. He showed us that authentic love is not something that simply happens to us, as the conventional romantic narrative would have us believe. It is something we consciously cultivate, first within ourselves and then in connection with another. The self-esteem Jung invites us to develop is like an inner garden that requires constant care. It is not something you achieve once and for all. It is a daily practice of self-knowledge, self-acceptance, and self-care. And just as a well-tended garden naturally attracts butterflies and birds, solid self-esteem attracts relationships that reflect the love and respect you have cultivated for yourself. Remember that Jung taught us that your vision will become clear only when you look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. This inner awakening is the true foundation of unshakable self-esteem. And it is this self-esteem that becomes your passport, not only to authentic love, but to a fulfilled life in all its aspects. Because in the end, what Jung wanted us to understand is that the quality of our relationships mirrors the quality of our relationship with ourselves. If you want to transform your love life, start by transforming how you relate to yourself. Practice the same patience, understanding, and compassion with yourself that you would like to receive from a loving partner. Speak to yourself with the same kindness you would offer a dear friend. Honor your needs and your boundaries, just as you expect others to honor them. And always remember that choosing yourself is not selfish. It is the most generous act you can offer those you love. Because only when you have filled yourself from within can you truly offer something valuable to others, not your fears or your emptiness, but your fullness and your love. Do you want to experience a love that lifts you up rather than exhausts you? A love that celebrates your individuality rather than dissolves it? A love that inspires you to grow rather than keeps you small? Then begin by cultivating this sacred relationship with yourself. Because as Jung showed us, your self-esteem is undoubtedly the passport to truly transformative love. This journey will not always be easy. There will be moments when you doubt yourself, when old insecurities try to resurface. But remember, every step you take toward your truth, every courageous act of facing your shadows, every moment you choose to honor yourself brings you closer to the love you yearn for, deserve, and deep down already know is possible. The path is there, inviting you to walk it. The decision to take the first step is yours. And no matter your current situation, I want you to know you have within you everything you need to transform your relationship with yourself. And by extension, all your relationships. As Jung himself said, I am not what happened to me. I'm what I choose to become. And you, what do you choose to become today? Are you ready to claim your passport to authentic love? Are you willing to embark on this journey to the center of yourself? If this message resonated with you, I invite you to share it with someone who might need it. Sometimes the right words at the right time can spark a profound transformation. Leave me a comment about how this message impacted you. Which aspects of Jungian psychology resonate most with you? What concrete steps do you plan to take to cultivate stronger self-esteem? Your experience might inspire others who are walking similar paths. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to this channel and activate the notification bell so you don't miss future videos, where we will continue exploring together the depths of the psyche and bringing these ancient wisdoms into our everyday lives. Remember, this journey toward authentic love begins with a simple yet powerful act, choosing yourself. Today and every day, not as an act of selfishness, but as the foundation for everything beautiful you wish to create in your life. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care, love yourself, and allow yourself to shine with the full authenticity of your being.